Detroit once stood tall and proud, a blue-collar boom town, a model industrial center. By World War II, Detroit had become the automobile capital of the world and was known as the Arsenal of Democracy, a nickname the city earned in part for switching manufacturing production from cars to tanks during the war. Today, Detroit stands on the edge of financial disaster following decades of disinvestment, declining population, and shrinking revenue. Left behind are massive budget deficits, high unemployment, high crime, and a long list of urban woes that citizens of Detroit know all too well. But how did we get here? More important, what can be done to make things better? What if everyday citizens and their neighbors were our mayor and city council members? What if everyday citizens were making decisions about how to save Detroit from financial ruin?
You get to the 3.43 million, which when added with the 6.57 equals $10 million.
And we can't spend more than $10 million, and nor can we have a deficit at the end of the year.
We need to add the $1,400 back in that they say is illegal for us to take out.
Well, this is a tough one as well, and this is pretty much the fixed cost. This is, these are, the judge said we gotta pay it, we gotta pay it.
In the spring of 2012, the Forum on Contemporary Issues in Society at Wayne State University, a project of the Eugene Applebaum Chair in Community Engagement, launched CitizenDetroit, a series of community workshops designed to educate city residents about critical factors and significant events that have contributed to Detroit's economic crisis.
So part of what we're going to do here tonight is give everyone an opportunity to experience what it's like to be a decision maker in the city of Detroit. Our neighbors who have become, in a sense, the mayor and members of council. They come, each of us who's been there and anyone who's there now and those who will come in the future come with their own experience. They're regular people.
The workshops were coordinated with support from the Irvin D. Reed Honors College, the Citizens Research Council of Michigan, and Publius. The events took place over the course of 4 evenings and gave citizens hands-on experience through a budgeting exercise. Participants worked in small groups to address the city's budget problems and to decide how they would prioritize city services, such as public safety and the city's transportation system, given Detroit's scarce resources.
That's long term. That's long term.
That's only short term.
We still got now you can let the grass grow. You can depend on neighborhoods to cut the grass.
For a bus system, it will be $250,000. For recreation and ground maintenance, it will be $100,000. For the mayor's office, the council will be $150,000.
They also discussed controversial issues such as regionalization and privatization, all of the things that shape a city. They even discussed things that forever change a city, such as bankruptcy and emergency managers.
So all we need is another $150,000 at the bottom.
You take it out of city council, take those cars away and all of that.
We don't took that down. We don't cut it in half.
Some of your salary.
Decisions made by city officials are sometimes met with contempt and even outrage. But citizens often do not have the information that they need to develop informed opinions about the decisions that their leaders make. Sometimes they don't have enough information. Sometimes they have the wrong information.
What I'm trying to do is give them the basis and facts of what's happened to Detroit, what's happened to the tax base, how the budget is constructed, some of the different issues that have to be dealt with as the elected officials are trying to map out a future direction for the city. They're very complicated problems, and it's not easy to solve them, even though if you don't have all the facts, it might seem a lot easier. Once you've got the facts, it becomes much more complicated.
The budget exercise gives citizens an opportunity to understand and to figure out what they would do in that situation that they really aren't familiar with until they hear the facts from the presenters in advance of the exercise.
Democracy, I think all the way back to the founders, is a precious, precious gift.
Making real change in Detroit will require the involvement of citizens who are engaged earnestly in the political process and who know that their voices can make a difference. For this kind of engagement to occur and be effective, citizens must be educated about social and political issues.
And he's done a great job too. So this has really been great, but does anyone want to make a comment? We'll ask you to keep your comments just to 1 minute, but does anyone want to comment about this process at all?
I think this should be done in every classroom with every student, every year. Starting with first grade.
You can have 2 minutes. Go right ahead.
I think this is an important piece for everybody to understand their civic responsibility, their financial responsibility, and their overall responsibility to humanity as a whole, which is something that we're losing in the city, rather than the fact that we're with the deficit cost. So if we do this with first graders, second graders, third graders, especially high schoolers, they would understand the city that they live in, the city they want to raise their children in, and the city that they love, and how it is taken care of, and what their responsibilities are to it, both politically and personally.
Thank you very much,
This kind of effort depends on funding. And we are very, very fortunate at the Research Council to be able to depend on the organizational and financial support that Wayne State has contributed to the effort. I would hope that the foundation community would see the value in this kind of education, would see the value in having informed and thoughtful citizens. And certainly this city needs informed and thoughtful voters because there are such important issues facing the city.
Detroit's leaders have difficult decisions to make. The success of the outcomes and the future of our city hinge not only on the soundness of their decisions, but on the public's ability to understand and evaluate the choices that are available. After all, informed citizens make informed decisions. In many ways, that is the essence of democracy.